have to worry necessarily about taking notes. And we're just 1 minute away. Ryan will. I'll watch the. I'll watch just the waiting room, and we'll get started. We'll try and get started right on time here. And if there's any questions that you have, I mean, you can ask it in the chat if you want to.
Yeah, just ask any questions in the chat. We'll do our best to respond, and just make sure that when you message, you can message everyone. Just be easier for everybody to kind of see all the questions coming in and keep track of possibly duplicate questions or whatnot. So.
Okay, so it's 2 o'clock, and we'll kick this off. So I'll pass it over to Ryan.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, today we're talking about Noterro Go, the suite of features designed specifically for mobile practitioners and running a mobile clinic. This is our second webinar. Our first webinar was at an earlier stage of Noterro Go. There's been a lot of updates since then, including specifically the online booking experience, which is a key part of Noterro Go, and a real differentiator between traditional software and software built specifically for mobile practitioners. So, Nick and myself, we're the presenters today. We're both co-founders at Noterro. And we're just gonna, we're gonna do a fairly short webinar here, but we're gonna cover just why we built Noterro Go and what it means for mobile clinics. We'll do a demo of where things are now as of today, and show you how to use Go mode, and as well the online booking experience and how to get started. So the reason we built Noterro Go really comes down to traditional software just isn't friendly for mobile clinics. And you would know this better than anyone else. Mobile practitioners are often overlooked in software. Software is usually requiring cumbersome workarounds to make it work for a mobile clinic. They assume that you have a physical clinic, which you may or you may not. Noterro Go actually supports hybrid clinics, we call them, in Noterro Go, or just mobile only. And at the end of the day, it just consumes time, whether it's manually having to do all your bookings or having to constantly administer bookings to make sure that they fit within where you perform services and whatnot. So we're aiming to solve these issues with service area management. So you'll be able to define where you offer services geographically. Noterro Go is the Go mode specifically is an optimized experience for practitioners while they're on the move. There's AI-powered clinical notes and forms, so the ability to listen to the form in natural language interpreted by AI to call out the most important pieces. You could still, of course, review the form, but it's handy to hear, maybe while you're driving if you have your phone connected to your car. And then as well, charting, so the ability to just verbalize the experience with the patient, so that you can come back to your desk at your office and finalize any preliminary notes. As well as safety contacts. So there's a whole concept in Noterro Go about safety alerts and reaching out to your safety contact if you don't check out of your appointment in time. So at this point, we're gonna jump right into the demo. Nick, I'll stop sharing and let you share your screen.
Perfect. I think there's a chat too, if you want to just take a look at that. So let me just share my screen.
Yep.
So as Ryan was suggesting that we're going to go through some of the features, I'm not going to go through the setup, but I am going to go through, I'm going to start at just the settings screen for Noterro Go, just to expose the concept of a service area or multiple service areas. And so instead of, as an example, we're in Hamilton, Ontario. And so instead of just saying I work in Hamilton, as you know, right now, without software supporting a defined area, you can have appointments, just all over that location, and you'll be bouncing around from one area to the next. And it's not very efficient for scheduling. So we're going to just start with the service area on the settings page. And again, I'm not going to spend time at setting this up. I just want to expose it. So this is just the Noterro Go settings page, and I have 2 defined service areas. So you can define multiple service areas within within a city or wherever you work. So I'll just pop open the first one here, and you can see the blue here represents the service area. These orange icons represent any client or patient that I have at my clinic that has a mobile location. I know um, patients or clients have addresses saved to their profile. It's not the same. They have to have a mobile location. It's easy to add a mobile location. So anyone who has a mobile location will show up on the map. And you can see that there's these 2 people that are outside this area. So if you're finding that you have a whole bunch of clusters of people outside the service area, you can adjust the service area at any time. So again, here's one service area, and you can see that I have an additional service area that's down here represented in the yellow. And so these people would not be able to book in this service area. So you can define the areas that you want to work in. Ryan mentioned safety contacts, and so we will notify your safety contacts if you have not checked out of your appointment, and I'll expose this on go mode. And so you would simply just come in here and define who your safety contact will be. Okay, so again, that's just the settings, just to understand that there is a concept of a service area. And we'll look at the calendar and how those service areas are defined. So I'm looking at Nick Noterro's calendar. And again, I'm not going to go through the settings, but I just wanted to expose those service areas. So the blue represents on Wednesday from 11:30 or 11:15 to 3:30. I work in that mountain service area location. And then I work downtown in the evening. And you can structure your day any way you want, put these service areas anywhere you want. So anyone who falls within the service area can book an appointment. You can book anywhere as the admin or a practitioner. You can book anyone into the calendar as you see fit. But anyone who's booking online, their address, their mobile address has to be, or their Go location has to fit within this service area. We have agenda view, and again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the agenda view, but I just want to show you that it does show you your route for that day, and this is just at a much higher level. You can see all your appointments from start to finish on a route that you want to choose. This view prep list will just show all the supplies you need for all your appointments. So 2 of your appointments, we don't know which ones, but 2 of your appointments. Then you need a table, you need 3 sets of sheets, and then there's some other data that's being exposed at this point. And then we have this go mode, and we'll show you go mode when we are looking at the appointment. Okay, so let's take a look at the first appointment. And so what we're trying to do is, if you think of how you move as a mobile practitioner, and when you get to that first appointment. So let me just click on this first appointment. And this is the traditional view that we see on the appointment card. We have an unpaid invoice. I've already started a clinical note. If I was a mobile practitioner, I was setting this up, I would have all my online booking, all my services set to require to pay. So I'd have my required to pay in order to book that appointment. So when someone's booking an appointment, they're required to pay. It's one less thing you have to do when you're at their home. So that's one thing that I would do. You don't have to do that, but I would set it up that way. And then when you come to this, the invoice would already be paid. And so you don't have to collect any fees at the time of checking someone out. So that'd be the first thing that I would do. And you can even enable tips. So if you want to enable tips, they can also tip you online when they're paying their invoice, or sorry, when they're booking an appointment. And then again, we have this concept of a clinical note. A new feature that is coming is this idea that this is a form that the person has that was completed on this date. You can summarize it if you want. This has already been summarized. This feature hasn't been this feature is not completed yet. It should be released in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And so you have the ability to summarize an intake form. And we'll take a look at what that means in the go mode. So we realize this isn't necessarily user-friendly when you're on the move. And so we created this additional mode called go mode. And so go mode, again, you have much bigger buttons. You have this map that you can open up on your phone if you need directions. But we'll start with just at the very top of this check-in concept. So as soon as I click check-in, so while as I start my appointment, you'll notice there's a timer, a 40-minute timer that's checking down. And so this is based on the recovery time, and the service time. So I have a 30-minute service plus a recovery time. So basically I have 40 minutes to check out. And then when I'm done my appointment, I'll check out. If you haven't checked out, we'll send the practitioner a notification to say you need to check out. After a set period of time that you configure, we'll then contact your safety contact, and you determine how you want them to be contacted. You can either do email, phone, or text. You can do a combination of all three. So you can have all three or one or two, whatever you want to do. And you just have to let them know that they will be contacted, that you haven't checked out of your appointment, and however they want to handle that. So once you're done your appointment, you'll just click checkout, and then you'll be done. Moving down, as I said, you have this map that you can click on and open up on your phone. You can see the prep list. So prior to even going to the appointment, I can take a look at the prep list, and I know it's a house. They have a driveway, there's no pets, and there's stairs. And table's not needed. This person has a table and sheets for my appointment. So very quickly, I can see, the supplies I need, even just prior to going to the appointment. This is that feature I was talking about. So if they have an intake form, while you're on the move, you can just click on this, and it will just basically read a summary of the intake form for you. And again, if you're running late, or if you just want to quickly message them, again, big buttons, I can just click this, and we have some configured messages that you can just click that I'm on my way, just to let them know, as well as if you want to just give them a call. Maybe you're running late or you need to talk to them, you can just give them a call. So you arrive for the appointment, you know what you need. You don't have to bring your table in. You know that they have linens for you. You go perform the treatment. The treatment has now been completed. You don't have to check them out because you required a full payment prior to them booking. You're going to encourage them to possibly book online their next appointment because they're very comfortable with booking online. And then now you're in the driveway and you hit scribe note. And the scribe note, all you do is just talk in natural language, and we'll configure that note for you. So as an example, you just click, there's a countdown, and in this case, it's John Smith. So you may just say, today I saw John Smith. He was complaining of low back pain, and it was radiated into his right hip. I treated him with myofascial release, and blah, 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 blah. Once you're done, you can just hit upload. You just have to wait a second here until it uploads. And it's done. So we've sent that off. It's going to take that natural language, and it's going to put it in a form that you can then add it to the note at the end of the day, and I'll show you that workflow. So that's it. So again, you showed up for the appointment, you got a summary of what the intake form was, you treated them, they already paid, and then you just leave, spend a minute or two in the driveway, talk about the treatment, and now you're off to your next appointment. And then your next appointment, you start the process all over again. And then come to the end of the day. So now we've completed all these appointments. We come to the end of the day, and I just go to my dashboard. And on my dashboard, you'll have all your pending scribes. And then you just click review all. And so this is the form that I was talking about. So I scribed the appointment. I talked about the appointment. And it's going to it's going to break it all up into sections. And they're saying this is the primary complaint, and do you want to put that in the subjective section? That's what this is doing. This is how it summarized the current symptoms. These are the objective findings. And if you're satisfied with all this, you can make changes to it. You have two choices. You can add it to a note and then go to the note if you want to make additional, if you maybe use the tagger, if there's additional notations you want to make, or you might just click add and finalize. And once you click add and finalize, the note's done. And if you have a number of scribes already queued up, so at the end of the day, you have all your scribes queued up, and if it's just add and finalize, you just quickly read it over, add and finalize, and all your notes are done. And so by the end of the day, you have the service area that's been well defined. Within that service area, you're not running all around. It's optimized for a mobile practitioner moving around in a defined area. And again, because you've already prepaid for all the invoices, all that work is done for you. And at the end of the day, you just come and do your scribes. So it becomes a very, very efficient workflow for mobile practitioners. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to the experience of what it's like for someone to book an appointment. So let me share this instead. Okay, so I'm logged in. I'm going to show you both logged in and logged out in a minute. So I'm logged in already. And If I scroll here, these are just the services as they always appear. And these are the practitioners that perform services at this clinic. And these are my locations. There's an additional location that says my location. So again, don't forget I'm logged in here. So if I want, I can book an appointment at my location, but that location has to be within one of the defined service areas. So that's the criteria. And you may say, how do you know if you're in a defined area? I'll show you that in a second here. So when they're booking, or when they're prompted to book an appointment for the first time, they're asked to put in their service area, and we'll determine if it is in one of your service areas. And then what happens if they're not within the service area. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll just go through the traditional booking. So I'll just say I'm booking a personal training. I'll select Nick Noterro, and I have a choice. This is a hybrid clinic that Ryan was mentioning. So I can book at Peak Care, which is in this location, physical location, but I really want them to come to my house. So I'm going to select my house, and then you just select whatever day you want, and then you hit continue. And this just gives you a summary. So it's for a personal training session with Nick Noterro. The location is here, and then I proceed to book. So when I hit proceed to book, if you require full payment, when I hit proceed to book, they're going to be asked to pay for that service. And this is what I was talking about. So again, imagine if this was set up for full payment, the service is already paid for, and then you don't have to worry about that part of the transaction. So now the appointment is booked, and they will get an email reminder, because that's what's toggled on. From the standpoint of what their appointments will look like, in this case, these are all mobile appointments because of this icon, and they can click into this at any time to see the details, and if they want to cancel that appointment, if that's how you have it configured. So these are the appointments. So how do you add a mobile location? So it's either the first time when you're checking out, we're going to ask for that location, or in this case, because I already have a location, the house, I can add another location. So I may have multiple locations that you can possibly see me at. So for an example, I can add location, and this is where we're going to check to see if it's within a service area. So if I start typing an area, let's just type this in. Okay, and then great news, this is in the service area. Then you can continue, and then you would add that location. If I put a location that's not within, you're gonna get a different type of warning message. So let me just put something that's not within this area. Okay, and then you're going to get, sorry, we don't service this area, and you have to contact the clinic. Okay, so there's just a pre-configured message that they'll need to contact the clinic, and at that point you can determine if you want to allow them to book by adjusting your service area. So again, this is something that you'll need to manage. From the logged out perspective, so this is a logged in perspective. From the logged out perspective, let me just log out. Okay, so I'm logged out. You can see my sidebar has changed. They have much of that check location, and it'll operate the same way. So if I put in that 100 Main Street in Dundas as an example, they're going to get that same message. So what we're trying to prevent is someone going through the whole booking process only to find out at the end that they can't book the appointment because it's in an area that you don't service. And again, they'll need to contact the clinic, and that's something you can decide if you want to service, if you want to change your service area, or if you want to book them manually to include them in that, or you want to just book them manually and let them know that you will, come out to their house. Those are your two options. So I'm going to pass it back over to Ryan, and then we'll just open up to this we'll open this up to question and answers.
All right. Let me just share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Noterro Go. Thanks, Nick, for taking us through that. Yeah, there's a lot more planned for Noterro Go to come. This is the first release. It is available to all clinics now, or it's available publicly now. It's available to clinics on the Plus plan and the Max plan. Yeah, so if you are on one of those plans, you just head over to your settings and enable Noterro Go and start adding your service areas and your availability. And Yeah, there are a lot of clinics that are on legacy plans. So we introduced new plans last year, but we did not require any legacy users to upgrade. So if you are on a legacy plan, you are able to use Noterro Go by upgrading to Plus. We will have a 14-day rollback period. So I know that a lot of legacy uh, clinics may want to still have their legacy plan if they decide they don't want to proceed with Noterro Go. So just make sure you reach out to us within the 14 days of upgrading, and we'll honor a rollback to your legacy plan so that you have a chance to try Noterro Go. Yeah, and that's it. Does anybody have any questions? If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. I don't think I saw any throughout the presentation, but let me
Oh,
check.
there is one. There is one. Does the scribe
Okay.
cost on top of the subscription? So is there any cost for the scribe
Yep.
and the summary? There's both a cost. So you can.
Yeah. So Scribe consumes Notero credits. Notero credits are priced at basically $1 or roughly 1 cent per credit. And long story short, it's about 14 cents a minute. It works out to of recorded time. And then for the form summaries, they are 5 Notero credits per form summarization. So yeah, a nickel per form summary. So yeah.
And just to put a perspective, I mean that example that I provided with all that content on that summary, that was just a little over a minute. So you can get a lot of content within a minute, and you'll just get better at it as it'll just start rolling off your tongue. I'm
Yep.
going to be working in 8 different municipalities, and I want to narrow it down to a different municipality a day of the week. Would that be able to? Yeah, that's exactly what it's set up for. So in each municipality, if you work in municipality A on Mondays and B on Tuesdays, you would set up 8 separate service areas for those 8 different municipalities. And people in that municipality would only be able to book. So because their address would be located in that municipality. So someone in municipality A would not be able to book in municipality B because their address wouldn't be in that service area. So that's exactly what it's set up for.
I don't see any other questions, unless they're private message to you, Nick.
No, I don't have any. So we'll just keep it open for another minute or two. At this point, doesn't look like there's any other messages. Let me just check one more time. Oh, here's one. Does the map feature adjust time to travel between locations or clients? And yes, that's something I did not expose. So within each service area, you can add what's called the travel time between appointments. And so within that service area, so if you know you're in a really congested area and you think, well, I'm going to need at least 15 minutes within this service area, and that adjusted time gets put on, it gets added to the service time plus the recover time plus the travel time for specific for that service area. So yes, you can add a travel time to each of your service areas. And then the other thing that I didn't also expose, even within a service area, you can set a radius, and so you can cluster your appointments around existing appointments. So you can set a radius of say 1 kilometer or 1 mile, and so people have to be within that radius. Their address has to be within that radius of the previous appointment in order to book. So it'll cluster appointments, so that even prevents you from bouncing around the service area. But what it also does is it doesn't it restricts even within the service area. It's just a further refinement within the service area. So
So
we do have some configurations that you can also do within the service area.
yeah, and much like cluster booking with geo clustering, if you're a busy clinic, you'll want to use that feature because you're going to get booked anyways. You may as well be stricter about how far you're willing to travel between appointments. Same with traditional cluster booking. Like you would only turn that on if you're very busy and you're going to fill your schedule anyways. You may as well be efficient. If you're brand new and you don't have a lot of patients yet, you may not want to enforce a small radius.
It doesn't look like there's any other questions coming in. If you do have any other questions, you can always contact us at support, and we'll answer any questions that you have, as well as we will support you as you set up Go and you're enabling Go. There is a video. We have a number of videos on our YouTube channel. There's a really important video. So if you're one of those legacy clinics and you're moving over to Go, and you've been using a workaround, for example, the workaround could be you've created a location that says mobile service area, and now you need to transition out of the workaround that we used to have into the Noterro Go and take advantage of the features. We do have a video in transitioning out of legacy and into Go, and so I strongly encourage you, sorry, not strongly, I would encourage you to watch that video, because it's going to save you a lot of time in trying to figure out how to move everything over. And when I say move everything over, it's not a lot of work, but if you configure it correctly, it'll save you a lot of time and effort of trying to figure out how to do it, to move it over. And it doesn't look, again, it doesn't look like to be any more questions coming in. So yeah, again, thanks for taking your time out of your busy day and going through the webinar. And we will be sending this, so there'll be follow-up emails because we have recorded this. There'll be a follow-up email with a link if you do want to, if you need to reference the video again.
And please, yes, email support@noterro.com if you have any questions, but also if you have any feedback. Like, we'd love to hear, as we get more and more mobile practitioners using it, we'd love to hear your feedback, how we can make it better. That's how Noterro works. And, much of what we develop is based off of our users and what they're thinking. So yes, definitely let us know.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks.